When it comes to researching for a presentation or a speech, we have our common places to go to. We can always Google search something, check out sources like Wikipedia or news articles. We could draw from our own personal experiences or even just ask our friends who might be familiar with that topic. But when it comes to doing research in the information overload age that we're in, we need to move a step beyond than just those sources. And it's when we can move a step beyond that we can actually add something that's a lot more of value than what's already out there. And how do we go about doing that is exactly what we're going to discuss in this video. Hey, my name is Pradeep and I love learning about effective communications and sharing those learnings with you so that you can level up your communications game as well. All right, we're going to break this down into three very simple parts. The very first thing when it comes to researching is not about immediately getting those sources and start putting it down on paper. The very first step is to start researching, not with the intention of putting it down, but with the intention of understanding what's already out there. When we start understanding the landscape of everything that's out there, we not only become a lot more familiar with the topic, but it also helps us with the second point, which is adding our own unique point of view. And this is at the heart of every good researched presentation. The reason why so many presentations are boring is because they're so predictable. As viewers, we already understand what the speaker might be talking about. But it's only when we know the topic well enough that we can add an element of unexpectedness to that particular subject. And that's what causes intrigue. That's what makes us engage with that particular speech. And that's where moving a step beyond comes into the picture. So instead of just going on Google, we can actually go on Google Scholar to understand more in-depth research studies. But we can even go further than that. One of the people who we're currently coaching works in HR. And he had to give a presentation on certain compliances. And he had to talk about how HR executives can contribute a lot more to the company's long-term vision. Now, instead of just researching on Google and giving those few flimsy pointers, he actually dug a lot deeper. He picked out the top 5 companies of the world and actually studied their annual reports, which are very lengthy, boring papers. And he dissected down the information that would be the most useful for HR executives and showed them what these companies are doing correctly with regard to their HR compliances that helps them achieve their long-term growth. I hope I wasn't very technical with that, but that's an example of going above and beyond with our research. I'll give you another example. One of my favorite YouTube channels is this company known as Income School. And they talk about blogging. How do you become a better blogger? And they created this video which spoke about hiring writing services to help expand your blog's growth. So now instead of just looking at reviews of certain writing services or speaking to people who've been through those services, they actually went out and hired 3 of those writing services, experienced each aspect of it themselves, and then created a very holistic video and spoke about all the pros and cons of hiring particular writing companies. And that's what makes content, whether it's a presentation that we're giving, a video we're making, or whatever it might be, so juicy, so much more valuable, which is our third point. We need to ask ourselves when we're searching for that unique point of view, is our content actually adding value to the audience? Because it can be unique, but if it's not really going to help them either get more entertained, get more educated, or be more informed on a particular subject, it's not really doing justice to the time that they're giving to us. So we need to make sure that if the subject calls for it, we're speaking for arguments for it as well as against it. It's only when we can represent 2 sides of the same coin that we have a compelling argument, and it helps make our entire argument a lot more persuasive. And that's about it. 3 simple steps to help us research in a more effective way for more engaging presentations. If you have any more questions around things like public speaking, communications, or anything in that space, we have an entire website with in-depth articles and resources dedicated just for that. So go check out franticallyspeaking.com. And after researching a particular subject, if you want to know how you can write a killer opening for your speech or presentation, check out this video right here.